Okay, I see we're live on YouTube.
I might be recording by
Okay.
blinking. Is that going to bother you?
No, it's not gonna bother us. Inshallah. Bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق الناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره العظيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وذرياته وأهل البيت كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إني أسألك من كل خير سألك منه محمد نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك منه محمد نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسررنا وما أعلنا وما أنت أعلم بما منا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من فتنة المحيا والممات ومن فتنة القبر ومن فتنة المسيح الدجال ومن عذاب النار وسوء المصير. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ورضي الله عن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا همة الشيخ احضرينا بهذا المحضر والتعطفي بنظرة تأتينا بالأمر. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to our weekly Maliki Fiqh class with our teacher, Shaykh Ameen Abdul Awal. I am your brother, Habib Rasul Miller. I'm here with you every week hosting, really just to help with, answering questions and things like that. So inshallah, please, as we listen to the lesson for today, if you have any questions, jot them down. And at the end of class, we will have a time for some question and answer, inshallah ta'ala. Um, I wanted to open today with just a brief reminder about the status of knowledge, Islamic knowledge, and the people and teachers of Islamic knowledge in our tradition. We know that the Prophet ﷺ informed, well, we've been informed that the ulama, the people who've studied and learned and teach the knowledge of our deen are the inheritors of the prophets. They're the inheritors of the prophets. And the people who go to seek knowledge, while they're going to seek the knowledge about their religion, the angels in the heavens, the fish in the sea are all making dua for Allah to forgive that person as they're going to seek knowledge. This is what we know from the hadith. So how much more would be the rank of the person who goes and seeks the knowledge and gets it and puts it in its proper context and then comes and teaches it to us. So we have to give this knowledge its proper due. We have to understand that this is really the most important thing that we're going to do with our lives, is seeking to understand our religion and to implement the religion. And so we should love and support and make dua for and help however we can the people who facilitate this for us. First and foremost, the people who, in this case, Shaykh Ameen, who's teaching us this information. And we should make it a point to prioritize getting it and to put ourselves in the best sort of frame of mind when we're going to get it. We should take this seriously, I remember Shaykh Ameen when we were studying with Shaykh Ameen, he would always tell us to bring a notebook. And he said to me one time, he said, if you look at the people who were going to school and studying and studious before they came into the deen, they're the people who generally are going to be the most studious and the most useful and beneficial in taking this knowledge. But if you're not a person who's used to being studious, mashallah, that's okay. Islam gives us the opportunity to make ourselves better and reinvent ourselves. So inshallah, we can all, if we're not already doing it, alhamdulillah, we see Brother Frank and Brother Abi Yassin, that y'all always got your notebooks out. So y'all are inspiring the people, alhamdulillah. But inshallah ta'ala, everybody, make it a point to really understand this knowledge and to implement it. Because one of the things we've been taught to ask for is ilm nafiya, for beneficial knowledge. If you just have this information and you're not implementing it, then it's not going to benefit you the way it is if you implement it. So I don't want to say too much because I'm here to learn just like you, but I wanted to give you that reminder. So don't take this as a Sunday, social Zoom gathering where you just come and show your face and hear some good talk. Take this as an opportunity to really learn and grow and practice your religion in the best way you can, inshallah ta'ala. And that reminder is for myself first. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our teacher, Shaykh Ameen Abdul Awwal Akhir, and inshallah, we make dua that Allah bless us to understand and implement this knowledge and accept this from all of us, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وتابعين له بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وذرياته وآل بيت كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. And about so I'm going to try and complete this talk about the impurities. It says that the horse, donkey, the mule, the pig, and the monkey are haram for food. The horse, donkey, mule, pig, and the monkey are haram for food. While wearing during salat or any type of worship, it's makruh to wear these things from these animals in normal use. So, unlawful to wear them in your worship, but makruh to wear them in general. Is Hajj Dawood, is he there? Is Frank there?
I'm
Yes,
here.
Shaykh, brother.
I'm here, Shaykh Ameen.
You okay? How are you, Hajj?
That's Brother Frank, Shaykh. I
Oh, that's
don't think
Frank?
Hajj Dawood, I don't think Brother Hajj Dawood is here just yet.
Okay, Frank, I'm sorry I missed the meeting with you on Friday, but I had to go to the doctors and I couldn't change that appointment. They're too hard to get. In any case, you can come and meet me this week, inshallah.
I'll send you a text. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Allahumma salli wa sallam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad salam Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. So what comes from these haram animals, such as its urine, its feces, semen, milk is from these things, even the milk is impure always. They are haram even if slaughtered properly. If smoke or ashes from these animals that are cooked get on you, this is pure because they have naturally changed form, and a natural change of form always requires a new decision. So the original decision regarding its impurity, these animals, the horse, donkey, mule, pig, and the monkey are haram for food. While wearing during salat or any type of worship, and in general to wear them is considered makruh during normal use. So if you put it in the fire and the ashes from this haram animal comes to you, the ashes are not considered as still unlawful, because when it changes its composition and becomes ash, it requires a new decision. The skin of the horse, the donkey, and monkey can be used for something of dry goods, like if you make a pouch out of it, or even water. Use until the water doesn't taste, smell, or look like water anymore. But skin from a pig or man is haram to use anytime, all the time. To slaughter meat properly is to say Bismillah over the meat, then cut the halal animal's throat from the jugular to the jugular vein, and then let all the blood drain from the animal. Okay, they're gonna get into how to make zabiha, how to make sure that your slaughter is properly done. So it's gonna give you some pointers. Today I feel a little bit sick, so have patience. I just drank some juice to bring my blood sugar back up, and inshallah, I'll feel better in a minute. To slaughter meat properly is to say Bismillah over the meat, cut its throat from the jugular to the jugular, then drain the blood from the animal. Bismillah was intentionally, let's say if Bismillah was intentionally not said, then this meat would be considered as haram or unlawful. Let's say that Bismillah was said and the meat was not slaughtered properly, then the meat is still considered as haram. Bismillah was forgotten by mistake and the meat is slaughtered properly, then they say the meat is considered as halal, because you're only responsible for something when you're remembering it. No holy word that is spoken over haram meat can make it halal at all. No words that is spoken over haram meat can make it halal at all. And I remember this decision very well because there was a period when the American Muslims were going into McDonald's and Burger King and these places and buying the meat, the burgers, and then say Bismillah or Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and eat the burger and tell everybody that the burger had become halal because of the words that they said. And for some time, this was the standard understanding among American Muslims Not until some years later did they start to understand nothing can take something that is unlawful or haram and make it halal. There are no words that can be done that can change that position of it if it wasn't slaughtered properly for the beginning. So once an animal is slaughtered, or once an animal that is haram is slaughtered or killed, or however it dies, it cannot become halal by saying any special words or any title words that would make it become halal when it was originally haram or unlawful. So keep that in mind. It's a very big decision that will always help you to find the halal in everything that you deal with. You can't take something unlawful and make it lawful by any means of saying any words that's going to change his position. It says halal animals are pure as long as what they eat is pure. What comes from halal animals, urine, semen, etc., is pure as long as they eat pure things. Man's semen is impure. Insects are pure. They have no blood. If an impurity falls on or in a liquid, the liquid is impure and everything in it is impure, no matter how small. I'm going to talk to you about that. A salad, a decision has to be made as to the size of the impurity, how long it's been there, how far did it spread by breaking up, etc. If you remove the impurity from the salad and throw off that area, you consider to have been made impure, and you afterwards have some doubt. Doubt is not enough, so you can eat it. Doubt about an impurity in the food is not enough to throw the food away. This is a decision that people often ask me about blood and ablution. The jurists from the madhab of Imam Malik say blood doesn't break ablution. It says to make salat with shed blood is all right as long as it's not bigger than a silver dollar. If the blood is in different places on you, and if you put them together and it is no bigger than a silver dollar, then you can pray in it. If a person works with meat and has much blood on him that can't come off by making wudu, then Allah will forgive him if he makes salat with that impure condition. As long as the blood is not more than a silver dollar, it's always forgiven. Any pot or vessel that absorbs for which it was used to cook impure things, then becomes impure. This decision applied mostly to the people here, or the people who went to places, restaurants outside their home, and they found in that restaurant they cooked unhalal food on their grills or in their pots or something like that. And then you would come behind them and want something. Well, if their food was cooked in these type of pots that absorb, when you go behind them, their pots that absorb, once they get heated up again, the juices come back to the surface of that pot. So you're now cooking your food in a pot or a grill that has been used for cooking unhalal meat. And when it's done again, when it heats up again, the residue of that rises to the top. So now you're cooking your food in unhalal grease or unhalal fluid. So we don't want to do that. And this is why they don't recommend us eating our foods from places that cook unhalal food, or from any means that you could discern that unhalal food has been cooked in that, on that grill, in that pot, and so on and so forth. We will not use those type of pots, because when they heat it again, the fluids from the unhalal foods, unhalal meats, will rise to the top again, and you will be cooking your food in an unhalal situation because of what went into it before your food went into it. So we don't want to do that. We want to be careful in regards to what we cooking our food in, and what came into it before, what was in it before, like that. It says, if you, it says that these pots which absorb, we cannot use those things because it absorbs the impurities, and whatever comes after that also becomes impure. It says glass, iron, and brass do not absorb. It says cast iron does absorb. So the cast iron, we wouldn't use that, because if it absorbs and somebody has cooked unhalal, when it gets hot again, what it had absorbed will come to the surface, and if it was unhalal, then the foods that come into it afterwards will also become unhalal. They will become unlawful. It says alcohol and alcoholic drinks are haram for use at all times, even for medical use. Even for medical use. So in this discussion, they talk about different types of alcohol. All alcohol cannot be drank. So they have different types, isopropyl alcohol, and have quite a few different types. The one that Islam is concerned with is the main one that they're concerned with, is the one that can be drank. The one that can be drank is considered as unlawful all the time. all the time. There's nothing that we as Muslims should use this alcohol for if it's the one that can be drank and intoxicate. If it's the one that they use to the chemical breakdown is to make things last longer. Like in some clothes, in some foods, they have this type of alcohol that's supposed to sustain the life of the thing longer, but it can't be drank. If you try to drink it, it's gonna either make you sick, very sick, or it can even kill you. So this is not the one that Islam is discussing in regards to this subject. The one that Islam is discussing is the one that can be drank. And if you drink it, you are in a bad condition with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some scholars say that the drinking of alcohol leads to every type of unlawful thing. The person who intoxicates himself with alcohol, there's no telling what else they won't do. So in Islam, this alcohol is considered as haram alayh, and it's the biggest, one of the biggest types of unlawful. See, so this is something all Muslims have to be concerned with. This drinking of alcohol is completely unlawful. Don't use it for anything. This is how strong it is. How strong Islam says in regards to not liking alcohol's use. Don't use it. The one that can be drank, don't use it for anything. Historically, especially in the early days of medicine in America, they used to use alcohol for everything. The one that you could drink was also called medicinal. So they would use that same alcohol that people drank, everything that needed medical treatment, they started with alcohol. They would drink the alcohol, make the person numb, drunk, and then they would do whatever procedure, medical procedure, while the person was drunk. If they wanted to sterilize something, they would take the alcohol, pour it over the thing that they want to sterilize, and use that for the procedure. So this whole idea of alcohol has been around for a long time for the people in the dunya. See, that they didn't have a good understanding about alcohol. They weren't Muslims. And, you know, a part of the culture of America was that alcohol was used for everything. I don't know if you're familiar with the Wild West, but back in the era of the Wild West, two very big things that the entertainment of the people was when they reached the town, the first stop was the saloon. Once they got in the saloon, it was drinking of alcohol and gambling. Drinking of alcohol and gambling was the main entertainment historically in America. Not only America, because they have places like in China where the drinking of alcohol and gambling are considered as high-level entertainment. So, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the knowledge of Islam and helping for us to understand not to, partake in these unlawful things. Some scholars say the people who drink alcohol and that they can't even make prayers under that condition, not even saying that they become intoxicated, because the scholars say that even the smallest amount, even if it doesn't intoxicate, but if they drink enough, it would intoxicate. That means that even the smallest amount is haram, and that the decision is that if they drink it, their prayers wouldn't be answered. So these things we have to be very careful about. And in spite of what the people of our society, how they live, we must not do that. We must live according to the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he told the Muslims to do, what he learned from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's angel Gabriel to teach the Muslims what to do. And so this is how we know the right thing from the other things, not by what the people do, but from the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. If you pray, says tobacco is makruh by the ulama. But my teacher, Dr. Dunya, said it's haram because it's been scientifically proven to be unhealthy. Don't consider a person who smokes as a disbeliever. What comes from a person's mouth is pure as long as it has not changed its shape and its look, smell, and taste. Like food, it's pure. Again, what comes from a person's mouth is pure as long as it has not changed its shape and its look, smell, and taste. Like food, it's pure. Work-related dirt that wudu can't remove for salat is forgiven by Allah in this case. Work-related dirt. It means like a person who is a painter and it's time for the prayer. They've been working with the paint and now they can't get the paint off their hand, paint off their face or something because it's difficult to remove. But this is the person's job. So they'll find it almost impossible, if this is their job, to always be able to remove the work-related dirt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive that person because this is their job, and it'd be impossible for them who work with this all the time to be able to remove it each time before they have to make their prayers or their wudu. So this is to say, what is out of your ability is forgiven. It says that mucus is not impure. It says that more than a silver dollar, pus is an impurity, but doesn't break wudu. You can just wash it away. So pus, if it's a lot of pus, it doesn't break wudu, but it's considered as a physical impurity. If it's a lot, it won't break wudu, but you can just wash it away with water and consider that your wudu was not broken. If you pray with an impurity on you, like in the mouth of Imam Malik, they would consider an impurity to be leather that is not considered halal leather. It says, when you remember that it's there, then take it out. But there's a punishment if it happens too often. That means the person is not being careful. He's not taking good care of his ibadah. So when we go before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to be asked about that. How can you keep doing the same thing over and over again and forgetting? Sea animals and marine animals are halal. Even scavengers, even if it looks like a man or a dog. Sea animals and marine animals are halal. Even scavengers, even if it looks like a man. Persons that are not Muslims that want to give you food, you should investigate the food. It's very, very bad manners to question a Muslim's food when others are eating, unless you know that they don't take care of themselves. And even then, you tell them alone and in private and try and do it very nicely and tactfully. So when they gave us this lesson, my teacher, he spent a lot of time on this lesson. And one of the things he did was he emphasized to us, if we go to someone's home and they offer you some food, if there's no sign to tell you this person's food may not be good, you know that the person is saying that they are Muslim. It's considered as very bad manners to question, is this food halal? You should take it that the food is halal unless there is some sign that tells you it's not. And one of the things he said was, let's say you see in the garbage can that there's a Purdue chicken packaging. Then you could say, well, maybe they're thinking that this Purdue chicken is considered as halal. And, you don't shout them out publicly, but, you pull them to the side and say, Purdue is not, considered as halal, in case they don't know, and you can give them some better information. So it would have to be something like that, something that tells you the person is not taking care of what they eat in regards to halal for you to feel necessary to talk to them about the meat that they have in their home. And even if you do, you must do it privately with them or quietly, and tactfully. If a tooth or marbles or something like this fall into the food, solid and liquid, then remove it and eat the food, but those materials don't break up and spread or dissolve itself. Teflon pots aren't very good because the Teflon comes off eventually and goes into the food. What is haram? Don't use it at all. Don't sell it. So I'm going to make a distinction. Once my teacher was talking to us about things you can sell that people were interpreting as being haram. One of the things they were talking about was that I'm going to show you how old we are, that they were talking about mini skirts, that they were being so, they were popular at the time. So when he mentioned that, many of the brothers started saying astaghfirullah, and he said, well, why are you saying astaghfirullah? So, and they said, well, Shaykh, the mini skirts? He said, yeah, but wouldn't you like to see your wife in a mini skirt, in your home? And so we thought about it and said, yeah, that's okay. He said, yeah, because, you have the right to see your wife in a mini skirt. It's not the mini skirt that's unlawful. It's the way it's used that makes it unlawful. It's not the thing itself, because you could take the same mini skirt and it can be used in a lawful manner. But when some lady puts it on and goes out publicly, then it becomes unlawful. See? Not for your wife with you. She can wear that. So this started to give us a different type of understanding in regards to what is unlawful by the way it's created, or what is unlawful by the way it's used. So the distinction, you have to be able to realize something is only unlawful by its nature, like a pig or a horse or a donkey or mule. They are unlawful for eating, but they can be used in other ways that is not unlawful. Like the horse can be used to carry burdens. The mule can be used to carry burdens. The pig we don't use for anything. But if the hair of the pig was used, we would consider that the hair is not a part of the skin, and therefore it would be lawful to use it. That what you can't do, Allah does not hold you responsible for it, but make sure you can't do it. Don't just take the easy route. Soap used in wudu makes the wudu unaccepted. And also ghusl, if used for the entire ghusl. So don't use soap until you make your ghusl. This is what my teacher always used to tell us. Don't use soap in the beginning. After you have made the ghusl with natural water, then you can use the soap after the ghusl has been completed, and you have the right to use the soap then, because it has no effect because the ghusl has been done. Don't use soap in the beginning of your wudu, because if you use soap in the beginning of your wudu and then you go to make wudu, you may still have soap on your hand soap may get in your mouth and you can taste the soap, which makes you know that you are not using pure natural water, and make you doubt whether that your wudu is acceptable, and so on and so forth. So don't use the soap throughout the process of wudu or ghusl. Wait until after you have completed it, and then if you want to use soap, you have the right to use it then. They say that some schools of fiqh says, and they're talking about Abu Hanifa, if you tan haram leather, it's all right for prayer. But Imam Malik says that this understanding came from the language prior to Islam and not from tradition. So only under severe circumstances would we use that decision. And severe circumstances is that we can't find halal shoes, halal leather shoes here in America easily. So when you have that kind of problem, you have the right to use a decision from another madhab that, like Abu Hanifa's madhab in regards to leather being tanned, that according to Abu Hanifa's madhab, when leather is tanned or processed, it is now considered as halal. So only under dire circumstances should a person jump from one madhab to another. As a matter of fact, the madhab say, don't jump from one to another unless there is absolute necessity for you to be able to practice your deen. And this is why they would allow you to go to another madhab when the difficulty is such that you can't find the answer in your own madhab. Okay. Things that are impure or najas. It says meat not killed properly is impure or najas. The monkey, the horse, the donkey, the pig, najas. Skin of man and pig, not for use at all. What comes from haram animals, urine, milk, semen, najas. Man's semen, najas. Mushir, wine, liquor, alcohol, najas. Blood that is more than a silver dollar, najas. It doesn't affect your wudu, but when it's more than a silver dollar, it's considered as a physical impurity. Pus, if a silver dollar or more in size, is a najas. It won't affect your wudu, but it's a physical impurity. Cookery that absorbs with an impure thing when an impure thing was cooked in it. It means that the other things that come behind it will also be considered as impure. Animal oil and products with it from unlawful animals, najas. Urine or excrement from people, najas. What comes from a pure animal, if they eat impure things, najas. Vomit, if it comes out different than the way it went in, and you can see that it's something that is different, it becomes a najas. Another person's urine, but your own urine is not an impurity as long as it's not too much. Okay. That is the end of this section. I will next start with prayers, things about prayer. And then I intend to do some talk about the times of prayer and so on and so forth, as I promised I would do. Okay, I'm going to stop here and allow you to ask the other questions you may have. And inshallah, I will be able to help in some kind of way with those, with that information. Okay, as you like.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much, Shaykh Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for that lesson. Always benefit from that particular lesson, no matter how many times we hear it. Alhamdulillah. And we're making dua, Shaykh, that you feel better and that Allah blesses you to feel better and bring you back to full strength quickly. Alhamdulillah. So we have quite a few questions. I'm going to start with the questions we have, and if you're out there, if you have questions that you have not yet typed in the chat, please hurry up and do so we can get to your question. I'm going to start by acknowledging Brother Abu Yassin because he had his hand up for a long time. Okay. So, Brother Abu Yassin, if you want to just take your phone off mute and ask your question, you can, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. The question I have is about extracts that are used for baking, like vanilla extract and almond extract, things like this.
So you have to use the one that does not have the alcohol in it. We had this lesson in the late 80s.
Yes.
And
remember.
You remember.
I remember.
And this is to say they have different types of vanilla extract. The Muslims use the one that does not contain the alcohol.
Okay. I said this for the sake of I asked this question so that my wife can hear it from you. It's recorded.
Okay.
Inshallah.
As you like.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you. Jazakallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Shaykh, our next question is a clarification about blood. If blood from someone other than yourself gets on you, does it affect your can you pray and if it gets on your clothes, can you pray in those clothes?
Yeah, you see, the main thing about blood is that it doesn't affect your hadith, only your kabis. Kabis means physical impurity. Hadith means spiritual impurity. So if you get blood on you from any source, yours or somebody else's, if it's not more than a silver dollar, you can ignore it as something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't invalidate your prayers for. You see, if it's more than a silver dollar, even if you had to bring it all together, if it had splashed and it was in different places, but you can envision that if you could pull it all together, it would not be bigger than a silver dollar. You could ignore it and just, if it's your blood or somebody else's blood, doesn't matter, because things of blood does not affect your purity in regards to spiritual purity. But if it's too much blood, more than a silver dollar, it would affect your physical purity. So you would have to clean that or change garments or, find a way to get rid of it if it's too much blood. And even if you got a lot of blood on you, it wouldn't affect your wudu. It would affect your physical purity. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. Thank you, Shaykh. It's very clear. The next question is there a way to purify the pots that absorb things after it's been used for haram food? No. Is there any way to rescue them? Okay.
No, they suggest that the Muslims do not eat from those things for any reason, because even after some period of time, when you heat them again, it's going to, that same fluid that's in the material that was absorbed from those haram products, when it's heated again, those same things are going to come back to the surface in that pot, or whatever you cooked it on, and those things that come after it will also become unhalal, because it will mix with the haram foods that was cooked in it or on it before we cooked halal food and made it haram by going behind something that was haram, and now you can't make it become halal again. So that thing, we don't use those type of pots. We don't use anything that was used for cooking haram foods. Anything that can absorb, even after a period of time, when you heat it again, if something haram was cooked in it, meat, when you heat it again, that thing is going to become to the surface, and it will be, anything that's cooked in it will be haram again. So, okay, as you like.
Alhamdulillah. Shaykh, we have another question. The question is, if we have food prepared for us by our non-Muslim parents or grandparents, how should we tactfully deal with that?
Well, in general, we're taught to not make them uncomfortable. Grandparents and like parents, grandparents, older relatives that you go to visit them, and we are told to basically accept their food as halal. That we try to be as polite with them as we possibly can. One of the ways that my teacher used to say is, if we're gonna be uncomfortable with that, then you should bring the chicken or the meat that you have bought halal to them. See, that way that the meat or the product is halal. And if you know that there's somebody that doesn't cook halal food in their pots, then you would have a problem with, if they cooking with pots that absorb, and they may cook pork or something like that, and then you can give them a halal chicken or something, and they still cook it in the same pots, then the thing would still be unlawful. So this is a difficulty, and you have to discern whether or not you can talk to them about it and not hurt their feelings. See, one of the things that as Muslims we learned, and we don't want to hurt people's feelings. We don't want to, cause people problems, unnecessary anxieties. So, this is a problem. This is something that you can only decide what to do after you look at the nature of the relative that you're dealing with. Because, my grandmother, when she was alive, I used to say to her, Grandma, I'm going to teach you something that I learned from Islam. And, she was the type that she was always willing to listen. And so after I would explain it to her, she would say, oh, okay, that makes sense. Are you going to bring me something that I can cook for you or something like that, I remember one time I bought them pots. And I explained to them why I would like for them to cook me some, because they great cooks, but they just didn't, understand the principle of halal and haram at the time. And so after I explained it to them and I bought them new pots, and we were good. You know, they didn't use those pots for unhalal things because I explained it to them in detail. And they were happy to get the new pots, and they were happy to get this new information. So, you know, it's not just one way of doing it. If it was, it would serve the purpose all the time, but everybody's different. So, you know, you may have a grandparent that you try to explain to them something, and they're gonna tell you, "Oh boy, go sit down someplace and be quiet." See, because they come from a different understanding, a different era, and so, you know, they're not gonna listen. But then you have other ones that are more progressive, and you know, they'll listen. You know, and then you may be able to help them to become Muslims, inshallah. But I want you to remember something. There's a very strong talk about grandparents that they didn't get Islamic understanding, especially in this country where Islam came to this country over 1,000 years after it was in other countries in the world. And so many scholars believe that our grandparents that taught us basic values, morals, you know, basic values, that those people have us, you are a product of what they taught you when you were coming up. And they believe that some of our grandparents who taught us good values, even though they had no knowledge of Islam, will be able to go into paradise on the back of those Muslims that learned good values from their grandparents and from their parents that were not Muslim people. So it's highly probable that yes, some of our grandparents who had no Islamic knowledge, even we didn't have Islamic knowledge in that time, may be able to go into paradise on the back of their Muslim offspring from what they trained us in our moral codes before they had any knowledge of Islam. So we are the product of that, inshallah, and they may gain rewards from what they taught us even before knowledge of Islam came here. Okay, as you like, Dr. Rasul.
Someone asked a follow-up question about the pots. They said if you have pots that are made of glass or iron or bronze, and non-halal meat was cooked in them, when you wash them out, do you use pure water or do you use soap?
Well, first of all, it's not a matter of trying to wash it, because the ones that absorb, washing doesn't change the condition, because as soon as you heat it up again, the fluid from it, you'll see a slight film that comes back to the top of the pot, to the surface. You can't wash that away. That doesn't, you know, you can't wash it away. But in general, you would say use soap, but use the soap for, you know, in general, use the soap and the water. At some point in the washing, you may scrub it with soap. And then the last one is to use clear water, but it won't help in regards to the pot, because the pot that absorbs, as soon as you put fire to it again, the fluids that's absorbed in the pot is going to come back to the surface. And once again, if it was unhalal meat that was cooked in it, then whatever comes after that is going to be unhalal meat. It's going to
Sheikh,
be, yes.
I'm sorry, Sheikh. They were asking specifically about the pot that does not absorb, like the glass pot.
Well, if it doesn't absorb, then you can use both. You scrub it out some with the soap, and then you rinse it with clear water. See? Mm-hmm.
Now, Sheikh, someone else is asking, they participated. So this is a Muslim brother who participated in a food giveaway that some non-Muslims put together, like the USDA. And so the food they were giving away was not halal, but they were giving away to everybody, not Muslims. Is that okay? Was that good for him to do, or should he avoid that in the future?
Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So anytime a Muslim is going to participate in anything, he has to discern whether or not the thing that he's participating in would be considered as halal or not. You see, so anything that would be unlawful for you is unlawful for everybody, whether they are a Muslim or not, because you know what is halal and what is haram. You would be responsible if you distributed something unlawful to people. You would be considered as being a neglect of your duty, and Islam would tell you, do not participate in giving away something that you know is unlawful. So unlawful is always unlawful. It doesn't change through different conditions, except, let's say a person is starving to death, and the only thing they can find to eat is something that is unlawful. Islam tells them under that condition, to survive supersedes the thing that is unlawful. So you can eat a little of it, just enough to straighten your back up and go and try to find something that's halal. But in general, what is unlawful is always unlawful. So Muslims should not participate in things that are unlawful. Let's say when they bring food around, you have fruit, you have rice, you have juice, the things that we can participate in, we can participate. But if they came with meat and they said, we want you to distribute the meat, we would tell them, well, I'm a Muslim, I'm sorry, I can't distribute that meat, but I can help with the other stuff. You understand me? So this is, you understand what I'm saying? We don't participate in anything that we know we wouldn't eat it. We know that we would not consider it as halal. This is why we're not going to go into a bar. What would be the purpose of going into a place that has unlawful in place? Why would we go into that place? See, we would have no reason to go into a place that is known for alcohol. My teacher said, don't even go into the place, because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide to destroy that place at that time, and you're in there, you're going to be destroyed with them, inshallah. So we intentionally avoid places that have haram and things that are haram. So again, things that are haram either by the way it's created or the way it's used. If it's created haram, like a pig, there is nothing we're going to do with it. But If it's haram by its use, like the miniskirt and people wear publicly, that's haram by its use. We know that the thing itself is not haram, but the way you use it, that's haram. So we would avoid anything that is considered as unlawful in an unlawful way. Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Shaykh, the next question is from Brother Frank. And he can clarify, but well, Frank, do you want to just ask your question? Since you're here.
Yes, thank you. I find it difficult to eat halal in New York if I can't get to Atlantic Avenue. Am I allowed to eat kosher, or what are my options?
Yeah, that is your option. Frank,
Yes.
do you live in the Bronx?
No, I live on 80th in Manhattan.
So they have other places that serve that have halal food besides Atlantic Avenue, but you would just have to do your research and find places that are near you that are halal. But yes, in answer to your question, you can have kosher food, but I'm going to tell you my personal feeling about that is that after we did an examination of the places that sell kosher, we found that even the ones that are under rabbinical care don't take as they're not so religious in their slaughter as they should be. Like they'll take a animal and they'll slaughter one animal kosher, and the rest of the animals they don't slaughter kosher. So they have like a regiment that they consider as making it kosher, but the scholars of Islam don't consider that all of that meat is kosher. Just that one that they did properly was kosher. But they have a ritual that they use and say that it's for all of the meat, but only that one or two they kill properly, and the rest they hit in the head, or they shock them, or whatever, but they don't kill them properly. So also, personally, kosher meat does not taste good to me. It smells funny, and it has a off taste. I don't know exactly why. Something in its mixture, something that they put in it, or I don't know what it is, but it does not taste like meat should taste. And my wife has bought it, and we've tried different things, but you know, the meat usually sits around because we don't like it. For some reason, it doesn't taste right. It has a bad smell, and so on and so forth. I don't know if other people have found that to be true, but I found it to be true to the point that I would rather eat vegetables than to eat that meat. So one of the things that I learned is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he looks badly at a person who eats meat under any condition. Like, what I mean is this. Let's say the person can't find halal meat. So he goes to the supermarket and he buys some other type of meat. And then he says, well, I'm going to eat this other meat because I can't find halal meat. Well, Islam allows you to eat the kosher meat if you can eat it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, he says that he created so many different types of food that if you can't get halal meat, there are so many other things you could eat that to eat unhalal because you can't find halal would not be a good excuse, because they have so many different things a person could eat that he could sustain himself until he could find halal. So don't be like these people who, if they don't have halal meat, they'll eat any type. This is absolutely not acceptable. And because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created so many different things that we could eat, that's not meat product, you know, there's no excuse for us to, you know, be lackadaisical just so that we could have a piece of meat. So yes, that's exactly what I want to say. And be careful with, you know, accepting anything with, or just accepting anything. Okay. Alaikum salam rahmatullah.
I'm sorry, Shaykh. I didn't know something was wrong.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Muhammad came threw me off a little bit. Brother Frank, I wanted to let you know, inshallah, if you give me a call or shoot me a text afterwards, I can send you some websites that have lists of good, trustworthy halal restaurants, because me and my wife are kind of like in the food. So we kind of compiled those lists. So I can help you with that, inshallah. Sure, Muhammad, no problem. The next question that we had was regarding the soap. A sister is asking, just to clarify, is it okay for her to use soap? Or is it okay for us when we make our ghusl to use soap when we clean the private area to wipe away any impurities before we begin the ghusl?
No, you shouldn't do it that way. What you should do is make the ghusl with pure natural water first. Then when you complete your ghusl with pure natural water, then you can use soap on as much as you want, because the ghusl is finished. Whatever you do, try to avoid using the soap in the beginning. If you're going to use the soap in the beginning, it's going to take you a lot longer to do your ghusl, because after you use the soap first to do your ghusl, now you're going to have to remove all of the soap and everything and make sure that you got it off all your body. And then you're going to have to start to do the ghusl again with nothing but natural water. So why do that when you can make your ghusl, then use a cloth, a thick washcloth that you can scrub you with the soap if you like, and still maintain your ghusl. The thing that would make you lose your ghusl is if you use your hand on your privates, and that would break your purity, you see? But if you do it with a thick enough cloth, you can touch yourself and clean yourself with soap, and you wouldn't have lost anything. How do they know what you lose? It's because if the heat from your privates gets to the palm of your hand and you can feel the heat, then you know that you have broken ablution by touching your private parts. See? So soap, you can use it, but you should use it after the ghusl. You can use it after the ghusl, and you can use as much as you like after the ghusl, but try not to use it in the beginning of the ghusl, in the middle of the ghusl. Use it after the ghusl. Okay, as you like. I don't hear you.
Can you hear me now, Shaykh?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was unmuted. This is a question that someone asked last week that we didn't get to, that I wanted to ask, to follow up and ask today.
Yeah, they be asking me about that. they be asking me, say, well, he was supposed to ask that question from 2 weeks ago. Oh, okay.
Alhamdulillah. I try to do a good job of catching them all, but every now and then some slips through the cracks.
It's
so
all
please
right. I
forgive me,
understand.
everyone.
It's
Be
all
patient
right.
with me, inshallah.
We learn patience.
Alhamdulillah. But this is a question, going back to the question about when impurities come from like the skin, whether it's hemorrhoids or something like that. So the question is, for people who have eczema or sores that may weep, I think weep means when they ooze or leak. Sometimes for those people, washing with water can be painful. So if they have, the specific question asks if that person has a wet dream, how do they purify themselves? I think what they mean is there some kind of allowance for the person if washing causes them some pain or discomfort?
Let me see if I understand what you're asking me. A person becomes impure from the najas, huh? From a spiritual impurity as well as physical impurity, by having a dream.
Yes.
And they want to know, how do they get themselves back to a state of purity?
Yes.
They have to make a ghusl. They have to make a ghusl and make sure that from the physical side, whatever came out is not on their clothes or on the place where they will pray or anything like that. So they would have to remove any physical impurity, and then they would have to remove the hadith or the spiritual impurity, as you like.
So just so I know that I'm asking their question fully, if that person had a special condition where water was painful for them because of their eczema or their skin condition, is there some allowance for them? Like particularly if they, with a wet dream, this is something they didn't do on purpose.
But you're talking two different things now. You're talking about becoming impure from a dream, and then you're talking about eczema. They don't match at all. Okay. So you're talking about two different things, two different decisions, because the eczema is like, it would have to be so much that you would have to have pus. That would be an impurity. Nobody's skin that I know of makes that much pus. And if it's eczema due to, just bad skin, that can be ignored. That's, it has nothing to do with anything. You got bad skin, you got eczema. When you're not making a cleanliness process, you try to eat properly, you try to clean yourself with some kind of special type of stuff that would help to eliminate the eczema. But in general, it's out of your control. That's something that's out of your control. And Islam won't tell you make 1,000 wudus trying to, clean this eczema. No, you can ignore that. That's not enough. That's not a type of thing that makes you responsible. Allah don't make you responsible for what is out of your ability. Now, if the person knew that if they ate something that they shouldn't eat, and every time they ate it, it's going to make a problem for their skin, and they ate it anyway, then they would be responsible. You see? But just because they got bad skin, and no matter what they try to do, they're going to have some, eczema or something. That's not on you. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala don't make you responsible for what you can't be responsible for. You can't do nothing about it. So, you don't consider that as a problem. See, but what you have to do is you try to get medical attention. You try to get a doctor's opinion on what you can do to help to clean this up. And, you know, that's a part of the treatment. A part of the treatment is that you can't just walk for the rest of your life, go around with a problem that you didn't try to clear it up. You got to try to clear it up. But in the meantime, Allah forgives that. That's out of your ability. Okay, as you like.
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh, I wanted to turn it over to Haji Ishaq because I think he has a follow-up question on that.
As you like.
Alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
So one of my children had really bad eczema to the point that on many days, on some days, she wasn't able to bathe because the water would actually hurt when
Yes.
she got in the shower. So with a person like this, if they have some type of spiritual impurity, how do they clean them? How do they purify themselves?
Well,
Because taking the
anytime-
shower. I'm
Mm.
sorry, excuse me.
anytime you can't use water, you have the right to make a tayammum. But in fact, the treatment for that is like my daughter had that same problem when she was a teenager. And it cost us quite a bit of money to get a product that helps to clear that up. And, you know, it took a little while, but eventually it cleared up. And, you know, she was able to, you know, do everything like normal. But nowadays, they have so many different things that a person can use that will help to clear it up. But in the meantime, you know, if the water is that painful, they can't use it, then they have the right to do a tayammum. But you have to get medical attention because a tayammum cannot be used indefinitely. It's only under emergency situations that when you can't use water. Yes, as you like. I hope that helped you.
Yes, thank you, Shaykh. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you, Sidi Ishaq, for asking that question in a better way. Jazakumullah khair. We have one more question before I ask that one question. And if anybody else has more questions, please type them in the chat. But I just want to make people aware that we're collecting a gift for our teacher, for Shaykh Ameen. We want to follow the sunnah, because it is a sunnah established by the Prophet of Islam of doing what we're supposed to do for our teachers. So, and this is something that Sidi Ajib and myself have decided we wanted to initiate on our own. I hope Shaykh Ameen doesn't get upset with me for saying it in this forum, but we want to let people know we're encouraging people to contribute. We want to do something to show Shaykh Ameen our gratitude. So please, if you look down in the chat, you'll see the Cash App that you can send it to. And I'll say it for anybody who's not able to read it. It's $ Rasul Miller. That's $ RASUL MILLER, one word. So if you're able and you want to send a contribution and just put a little note that it's for Shaykh Ameen, inshallah ta'ala. And then the last question that we had, Shaykh Ameen, were you going to say something?
Yeah, actually, what I need to let you guys know is that anything that people send to me, I don't take it like exactly like that. I take it that I help people with the money. It's like sometimes, you know, the brothers say to me, no, Shaykh Ameen, we want you to use this money for you. And I will say, oh, okay, inshallah. But in honesty, I give it to people that need it more than me. I give it away. And it gives all of us bigger rewards to do it that way. Because not only are you giving to, like, as if you're giving for your teacher to have a easy way, a easier life, but also the same monies is being used in a better way for the people who need it more. You see, So this is what I always try to tell people is that even if you send money and you say this is for Shaykh Ameen, what it means is that it's for Shaykh Ameen to use it to help people. Not like so I could buy a new pair of sneakers. You know, it's like I use monies to help people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He always helps me to be able to help people. So I think that as long as we apply that method, that we will all be in a better condition with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of the day. See? So I just want you to know, whatever contribution you give is bigger than for Shaykh Ameen. It's for helping of people who need the help, especially in these times when things are going so badly. I don't know about everywhere, but I know about this city that I'm in, that, you know, funding has been cut for so many different things. You know, people are hungry. It's, you know, it's a rough time. You know, it's a rough time. And, you know, because of the way the mosques and things are run, a lot of times people don't like to go to ask them for help because they give the person a hard time when they go to ask them for help sometimes. You know, if you're not a personal friend of the people or something, or, you know, they got the old boys network where, you know, you got to be down with the crew in order for you to get help sometimes. Well, I don't believe in that. I believe if somebody come to me and they need help, and I can discern that they honestly need help, I'm going to look at whatever resources I have, and I'm going to try and do my best to help them, because I think that's what my duty is to the people, to help them, not only by teaching fiqh, but by physically, whatever I can do to help people. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, I intend to do that. And I think you should think in that way too, that whatever you could do to help, it's only helping you with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, that's all it's good for. Monies and whatever you do, the good deeds will go with you. They will go with you before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you want to clean up bad deeds, you clean up bad deeds by doing good deeds. See, it's nothing that you're going to buy for yourself that's going to do you better than helping somebody else. Okay, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Sheikh. The last question that we have today is actually from Brother Yahya.
Yeah.
I asked the question because I know he had a problem with the echo, but if he wants to clarify, he can. He's asking about the mourning period. Does the fiqh designate a mourning period after the death of a spouse? And is it the same for men and women?
I don't understand.
Brother Yahya, did you want to clarify your question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, I wanted to know if there was like a time period. I know for the ladies or for a man, if a spouse passes away, is there a mourning period?
For the woman, it's 4 months and 10 days before she can remarry or she can marry again. 4 months and 10 days. For the man, it has no set amount of time. It's like, why? Because actually, he don't have to wait a period of time to marry again. You understand? He don't have to wait a period of time to marry again. He has the right to marry again immediately. So, no, for the man, it's different. For the woman, there is a set amount of time when her husband dies that she has to wait 4 months and 10 days before she can marry again.
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
As you like.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. That's all the questions that we have for today.
Alhamdulillah. I hope that, you know, it was useful, this class that gave you some direction. Listen to me. Sometimes the shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he likes to play with our mind. And oftentimes you have the right idea from the beginning. And then when you're going to do the good thing, he'll say to you, oh, no, you don't want to do that. You want to do this. This is better. This will work out better for you. See? And so he'll try to change your mind from doing the good thing for you to do something selfish. See? So my advice is always try to do the best thing. And when he comes to you, he's going to always try to get you to do something besides the good thing, because he don't want you to be prosperous before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, he want to be able to point and say, look, I told you they was going to be like that. See? So keep this in your mind. Always try to outdo him, because he is our enemy. We don't have to fear nothing but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not afraid of him. He is the enemy, and we do battle with him on a continuous basis. From the day we born until the day we die, we're going to be fighting against that shaitan. Don't forget who you are and what you're doing here. You see? Because he's going to try to confuse you. He's going to tell you, oh, don't worry about the other people. Don't worry about them. Allah, he take care of them. Don't worry about it. Hey, go buy yourself a new car. Yeah. He's tricking you. He's tricking you. He wants you to be selfish, conceited. He wants you to think, as long as I'm a Muslim, I'm making prayer, I'm safe. Don't believe him. Hell has a lot of Muslims in it. Don't believe him. You see, he's trying to fool you. Our battle with him is consistent all the time. Always remember, he is your enemy, especially the young people. The young people, the future of this Islamic world, the future of the Muslims is in the hands of your young people. If he can get them, he thinks that he can subvert Islam from the world. Well, we know he won't succeed. We know he won't succeed. So when we go to battle with our wudu and our ghusl and our salat and trying to do what's good. And as long as we do that, we will be successful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promise. See? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of poverty. Don't be afraid of the shaitan. We don't fear him. He is our enemy. We fight him all the time. Sometimes it takes a while. You know, we have to cultivate this deen in our life. It don't just come out of the sky. It's something that you keep working on, until one day, the good in you supersedes the bad. But you have to keep working at it, and sacrifice is good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created sacrifice for us to gain benefit. It don't hurt you. It helps us. There's no way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to hurt you for helping people. No way. See? So I want to tell you this, because over the years, you know, I have watched the pious people, and I see that I can't talk to you right this minute. I'll call you back. I see that many of us have the wrong understanding. And so, you know, we're making some blunders. We're making some blunders that, you know, later we'll wish that we had done something better for ourselves. So remember, Allah created sacrifice as a way for us to obtain a better position with him. He's not like some angry God throwing down lightning bolts and wanting to hurt us. He wants us to be successful. He loves us better than we love ourselves. So what we have to do is keep in mind what he created us for, how he likes us, how he loves us and wants us to be successful. And all these different things that he created for us to be able to do. Like, look, when we go to feed the homeless, right? And I look at the Muslims and I say, what kind of people are these? How could they see people going out to do good deeds and don't see what they could contribute? What? How is it possible that somebody could be satisfied with themselves to the point that they don't see every opportunity to try to gain this benefit for themselves? Because why? We are in such great condition that we don't need to do the things that would be considered as good deeds, to try to remove bad deeds. Are we really in that kind of position? So I don't understand that theory at all, you see? And I'm telling you, don't you accept that either. If you see an opportunity to do good, you jump on it. You jump on it because that is the way that you will remove sins, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a better position with him. And start with your family first. See? Start with your family first. There's a family. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during his time, he came to the Sahaba. He said, who will help me they will invite my guests to their home, see, and help me to take care of these guests, give them food. So a family said, we will take them, we will take your guests, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when they went to the house of that person that wanted to help, the person not having enough food for themselves and the family wanted to help the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his guests. So they blew the candles out and they had it kind of in the darkness so that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam couldn't see that the family wasn't eating, but they were feeding his guests. And so after a little while, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought it to the attention of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam through Gabriel, and they offered those people paradise while they were still alive for the sacrifice they made to help the guests of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved that sacrifice that they made. You see? So we have the wrong way of looking at things. We have to understand that Shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he's trying to keep us away from the good. He wants us to be selfish. He wants us to be egotistical. See, he wants us to think we don't have to work harder. That's making his case. He thinks that will make his case on why he was arrogant Why he thought he could get away with saying, I'm not going to bow down to Adam. See? Be careful of this enemy. And this is a constant fight. It don't go away. It's just constant. He'll try to tell you all these different things to make you think we don't have to worry. We got to worry. Every opportunity you get, try to do the best thing you can do. Okay. اللهم إني أسألك من كل خير سألك منه محمد نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من كل شر استطاع منه محمد نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسررنا وما لنا وما أنت عالم به من نار ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الماء والممات ومن فتنة القبر ومن فتنة مسيح الدجال ومن عذاب النار وسوء المصير وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Okay, thank you for listening. Dr. Rasul, salam alaikum. Dr. Rasul, if Ishaq wants to make some type of talk or something for the community, let them do it. If you want to do something, then you do it. But I'm gonna leave now, inshallah.
Okay, thank you so much, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Salam alaikum.
Alaikum Sidi Ishaq.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
You have any announcements, inshallah?
I don't have any.
Okay, alhamdulillah. I just want to remind and encourage people, anybody who came late, we are collecting a gift for Shaykh Ameen to really, as he said, support him in supporting other people in the community. Since he's off screen, I can be a little bit more, I feel less shy to be blunt and forthright. Shaykh Ameen is someone who is serving the people and serving the community always. And in this era of the pandemic, you know, more and more people are coming to him asking for help. And, you know, he doesn't have, it's not like he has people supporting him in his support of the community outside of us, Nasu Ilm, and, you know, us that have been working to give him some support over the years. So Sidi Ajib asked me to, you know, make this talk. And, you know, some of you I've already been talking to in the past couple months that we want to be more consistent with supporting Shaykh Ameen and really, again, supporting him and supporting the people. So I want to encourage everyone, if you're able to give something, please give. Cash App, $ Rasul Miller. It's Cash App, $RASUL MILLER. Sidi Ishaq also put it down in the chat. And please just put a little note letting me know that the money I just sending is for Shaykh Ameen, inshallah. And of course, if you can't do anything, alhamdulillah, this is not payment or anything like that. But even if you can't do anything monetarily, what you can do now is dua. And inshallah, when the pandemic is over, you know, you can, you know, Shaykh Ameen and Sidi Ajib organizes the people to go and give food and clothes and different items to the people in need. So, you know, if you don't have money, but you have your ability, your sweat, your physical strength, then you can go out on the run and you can help that way, inshallah. But at the very least, one thing we all can do is make dua. So that's all I have for today. May Allah reward all of you. May Allah forgive us all. May Allah make this a means for us to achieve His pleasure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you all next week, inshallah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam to Allah.
Alaikum salam to barakatuh.
Alaikum Sidi. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Alhamdulillah. Good to hear you.
Alhamdulillah. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm gonna have to learn this thing on the computer a little better, man. So I might give you a call sometime this week, man, because
Okay, no
it's
problem.
much different on the phone. And I'm still I got an echo. I had an echo all through the whole thing. I don't know what I did wrong, but we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
So, Sidi,
Inshallah. All right.
Sidi Yahya.
Alaikum salam to everything.
Assalamu alaikum.
So yeah, don't hang up yet. Don't hang up yet.
Don't hang up.
Sing-
One question.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sidi Asak, were you trying to give Sidi Yahya some advice on the tech side?
Yeah, I think he hung up though.
Ah, mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum,
Okay.
Shaykh. Rasul.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Not the Shaykh, but your brother.
Okay, give Yahya my number.
Okay.